Zinc's the other one that's getting thrown around at the moment.
Mm.
What's the type of zinc pick to?
I love zinc, man. It's the zinc and copper balance is a big thing. I always look at that with the context of patients and immune system issues. What we typically see most of the time, I'd say, is more of a tilting towards a copper excess and a zinc deficiency. But we can also see just a deficiency of both, or people can just be normal and still have immune issues, but their zinc and copper not be an issue. But zinc deficiency is probably more the common out of the two. And that can come back to obviously diet, zinc lost due to certain conditions, pyrrole disorder being one of them, heavy metal competition, the soils being a poor source of zinc these days, the rise of plant-based diets, which might have, great clinical usage in some areas, but yeah, when it comes to something like zinc deficiency, that's something that I do often observe in people that are purely plant-based. So yeah, that whole area is pretty pivotal when you think about it. Zinc is very crucial to the formation of these T cells. And again, I'm doing a sort of a little series at the moment about this on Instagram. And yeah, zinc is one of the tools the body uses for the formation of these T cells, which come from the thymus gland. Yeah. Copper is just as crucial, in my opinion, because that's fueling the innate defense. So neutrophils require copper. And I think copper gets a bad name. Again, probably because we see copper excess quite across the board a lot of the time. So everyone's quite, not everyone, but yeah, there's a big sort of consensus that, we should be always screening for copper excess and removing excess copper. Certainly true. And we see it more so, I'd say, in patients like women that have just come off the pill, usually can have high copper. And that's related to estrogen and histamine issues. And that's another conversation. But yeah, zooming out, both are pretty crucial in the immune sort of integrity conversation. And the forms.
How are you supplementing? Is that what you were just about to say?
Yeah. So with copper, I rarely just use copper on its own. I'll usually use it from a food source like oyster extract or beef liver.
Oyster, yum. Isn't like oyster like kind of double time?
You got it, right? Yeah, it does.
That's where I like, and that's what I'm liking, that distinction. I think we talk about it a lot, going out of eventually, remembering that it's kind of like, because there are a lot of people who will be saying like, don't do vitamin C isolates, don't do vitamin C isolates, don't do zinc, don't do this, and it's like saying like, maybe sometimes it's an okay context, kind of argument, and it's context. Or don't do omega-3s is coming up a lot now, with the polyunsaturated fatty acids is kind of, and which I'd like to explore a little bit more with you, because I like the nuance of that going forward. But it's just whether we're excessively supplementing these things long term, whether maybe they should be kept to long-term clinical settings or deficiency settings, and then or seasonal settings, and then we move over. That's why we've got the sprint and the marathon vaccine.
Right.
So in the short term, are you supplementing like an isolated vitamin C?
Yeah. So in the sprint, I would use a big dose of zinc and vitamin C, and probably glutathione too.
And good old glutathione, like a fart in the mouth.
Yeah, sulfur bomb in the mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. And what form of zinc are you doing in that sprint, Maxine?
Yeah, I'm heading more towards bisglycinate these days rather than picolinate. Picoline's
you heard it here, everyone. Controversial.
Picolinate is absorbed quite good, but I see it because zinc and copper are deleterious to one another. So yeah, so if you take lots of one, you're going to deplete the other. And that's what we start seeing with picolinate. And some people come to you and they're like, yeah, a doctor put me on a compound of this a couple of years ago, and I just get the scripts repeated. It's like, how much are you taking of that? You're taking like 50 milligrams a day. That's a lot. No wonder your copper's in the bin. And then when we start seeing copper deficiency, it presents really similar to iron deficiency. Yeah.
Doctors like that should go under review. They do it with things like that. They go, practitioners, I should say. They do it with they do it with antidepressants. They do it with anti-anxiety, medication. Like not all of them are, but even with things like this, just getting someone on zinc, and then going, just review the script, just get the script going, repeat it again and again and again. Far out, that's irresponsible.
Yeah, that's right, and it comes back to the importance of keeping those labs. It's like, if in this again, like with this conversation we're having with immunity, it's like, get your zinc and copper looked at every 3 to 6 months. Get your white blood cells checked out. And, if you're super interested, get your T lymphocytes checked out too, and do all your T cell subsets. Yeah, like, because when you get just a generic blood test, quite often what you're seeing is just what's called a hematology, which is your red blood cells and your white blood cells, which is good. It's good to look at that. You can see the neutrophil count, total white blood cells, lymphocytes, eosinophils, blah, 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 blah. But for some folks with that immune dysregulation issue going on, where their immune system is just skewed and warped, you need to look at stuff over and above that.
So long term, you're looking for both zinc and copper.